On the morning of Thursday, February 1st, 2018, a couple of education activists in Philadelphia greeted the attendees of the February meeting of the Philadelphia Education Fund's Education Compact first meeting. The meeting had been postponed due to weather from January. The focus of the meeting was on student data, and we had prepared a survey to share with the attendees that was given out outside the building since there were new registration provisions enacted that restricted access to the meeting. So we created our own survey regarding student data that we wanted to share with those attending to give them some food for thought. So I will just share, we had 8 questions. Each one would be rated on a scale from strongly agree to strongly disagree, and here are the 8 statements. Education policy discussions should prioritize the input of corporations, foundations, and community partners over that of parents, students, and teachers. That's number 1. Parents, teachers, and students should not be concerned when research organizations accept grants from foundations that have sought to close schools and reinvent public education for the benefit of the ed tech industry. Number 3, students should primarily be seen as an aggregation of their data. Acquiring data for accountability and research purposes should take precedence over school funding and human relationships. 4, streamlined data access should be prioritized over student data privacy. 5, it is acceptable to promote volunteer out-of-school time reading coaches and ed tech literacy quote-unquote solutions while Philadelphia schools lack libraries, reading coaches, and small class sizes. 6, full funding of public education would negatively impact the programs I run or fund because their existence depends on deficits in supports, services, programs within the Philadelphia's public schools. Number 7, public education should primarily serve the needs of industry and the workforce. And the final one, number 8, I anticipate public education will be a growth area for social impact investing, pay for success, and social impact bonds. Philadelphia's children and their data will be valuable commodities in this new investment market. What follows is an overview of our action.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's Allison McDowell, continuing the Philadelphia Area Pay for Success Social Impact Finance educational campaign. This particular meeting that they're having today is all about data. Kids and data. So as you know, last December, the kind lady who just took this form, they were interested in not having certain people in the meeting, so we were asked to leave. Ultimately, we're allowed to stay, but in the meantime, the Philadelphia Ed Fund has changed its reservation policies regarding how you're allowed to come to the meetings. So now, unless you're a paid subscriber to the Philadelphia Ed Fund Education Compact First Series, you're not actually allowed to go to the meetings automatically. So the only people who are allowed to go automatically are the ones who pay. And then if you don't pay, you can ask to go to the meeting and be automatically put on a wait list, which they will then screen and decide if some people will get to go to the meeting. So, I'm standing out here on the sidewalk on the Ben Franklin Parkway, essentially because, I think what we're looking at is initially a setup of Pay for Success Finance. My suspicion is around early childhood and early literacy and perhaps workforce development. This is sort of following on the heels of the meeting that was at Girard College with the Chamber of Commerce on Monday. We're going to stand outside today and try to engage with the public, try to let folks know what is really happening. I think there are some young folks who are involved in this, young professionals in nonprofit organizations who feel like they're just really trying to help, and they don't realize that what we need is full public funding for public education, that a lot of these so-called charitable solutions are really just Band-Aids and setting the stage for social impact investment. And that will be investments where private capital is used to replace public funding for social services, many social services, but including public education. And then increasingly, delivery of those services will need to happen through digital devices, educational technology to generate the data sets that will be demanded to, quote unquote, deem these private venture capital interventions successful. And I think that really compromises the integrity of the educational process. It all removes teachers from the equation. And, it's interesting. They asked me to be sure to say that this wasn't the United Way's meeting. And it isn't their meeting, it's at the Ed Fund, but it is at the United Way building. Hi, you guys going to the meeting? Yeah, so I just have a survey. A lot of us can't get in. So this is like a data-based survey with some food for thought, trying to just raise some consciousness.
I have here Barbara Dowdle from APS and Girls High alumni. This is the last surviving book from the library at A. Philip Randolph Career Tech High School. The library was shut down during the administration of the SRC, along with 196 other libraries in our school system.
So Farah Jimenez had an interesting comment. She said something about if I had money, I should be using it to support their work, which is interesting because I really don't have nearly as much money as the venture capitalists that are backing this in the Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, you in the meeting? Hi, yeah, I'm not allowed in, but I'm a parent, and these are sort of questions I have about data and students. So yeah, they've changed their registration policy. Thank you. Yeah, sure. So just trying to get the word out, sharing some information. Folks from the United Way came out and took pictures of my banners, and I kind of photobombed it. Hi, going to the meeting? Yep. Can I give you this? Just so you guys know, they've changed the registration policy, so people can't get in unless they're paid subscribers, or you go on the wait list and they decide whether or not to let you in. So that's changed since December when they tried to remove me from a meeting even though I had a ticket. So just so you know, it's like a very controlled audience who's in the space. So hey, great that you're in. You should maybe reflect on why that is. I'm a parent. This is like a meeting about students and data, and I think as a parent there are a lot of issues and sort of ethical issues around use of data and children as impact investment. So if you need more information, if you could just go, the websites at the bottom are really good resources. What does local control means? Is local control the people in the room? Is that the local? Is that big L local or little L? I think out here we're the little L people.
I remember going to meetings of PATH of the Philadelphia Education Fund when I was still working.
Okay.
So therefore, they must have had meetings accessible to school personnel back in the day.
You'd rather? Oh, okay.
Leave me alone.
Poor fellow.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of people who are not interested in knowing things, which is disappointing. But then there are people who are willing to engage and get them. What I would say to corporations and nonprofits is that we would like for them to advocate for our children, for Philadelphia's children, to have books, to have what they need in schools. That's what we need. We don't want volunteers. We don't we don't want outsourced. We would really love it, actually, if the free library system of Philadelphia would step up and advocate for school libraries.
Schools with small classes and qualified reading teachers and libraries and librarians. But somehow the 98,000 children that Mayor Nutter gave cards to will find their way to the library. Okay. And those librarians in the free library already have full-time jobs. They're not trained or have the time to be reading teachers and research guides for our students.
You can, maybe if you get a chance.
I'll offer to collect them.
Yeah, because we realize this is not a scientific poll, really. This is probably not the kind of data research, quantitative. Maybe this is more qualitative research of the kind parents do and not the kind that Penn researchers do.
Wish me luck.
All right, good luck, Barbara. Thank you. So, yeah, hopefully we can put together a clip of what this is, have some conversations about what it means to truly support public education from the corporate sphere, if that means volunteerism. Hi, here you go. Or if these are meaningful efforts. Hi. Or not. And not just corporations, but the nonprofits, because I think a lot of times nonprofits are sort of cloaked in this concept of help. But what is help if it's not actually solving the fundamental problem and is merely a Band-Aid that lets chronic underfunding continue to take place?